We've been reporting on Gen Con, but it is time to return to the stream that is Kickstarter and see what gold we can find in our Kickstarter Pickstarters for the week of August 12th, 2019.
The newest from designer Ryan Laukat and Red Raven Games is Sleeping Gods, a story-based, narrative-based campaign game in which players are taking on the crew of a steamship and exploring mysterious islands in a map that is contained in a storybook, discovering sea monsters, dinosaurs, all kinds of possible strange encounters. And it is heavily story-based. It sounds like a very almost open-ended type of a game where you're sailing around, you can take actions, a lot of which will result in you reading entries from cards or from a storybook, and taking things, basically skill tests depending on what types of skills your characters have, and seeing how you can overcome challenges with those skills that you've acquired. There's also some card-based combat for when you face off with enemies. You can stop in at ports and buy new types of cards and upgrades. As I said, it's meant to be played as a campaign. I think he said around 8 to 10 hours. Also said that it's likely that your first time through, you may just lose, that your crew will die. It's a challenging type of a thing that you'll maybe have to be replaying more than one time. Sounded very, very interesting. The Ryan Laukat games are ones that have been kind of a blind spot for us. I finally just got around to picking up Ancient World.
Yeah, picking up, not trying just yet.
But we still haven't played Above and Below, which are like the other, I think, more story-focused games that he's done. But always heard good things about them. This one sounds really cool. I like the kind of open-ended approach to it, and the theme, of course, is very enticing to me as well.
I mean, I'm always a fan of story time. But that description reminds me actually of Seventh Continent, which we can confirm you die in the beginning unless you somehow really know the mechanics ahead of time.
Right. I guess the difference in this one is it's not as much. It's more in a book as opposed to like the board of cards.
Right.
But
I'm saying when playing that game, we've enjoyed it a lot. It was on our top 10 list. And I think that's a good sign to me because it means that you have to think a bit more about your choices and stuff. And you're like, this is how the world works now.
Yeah, not a legacy game, just a campaign game.
You can just rip up the book.
I get it. You have to buy a new copy every time. Any game can be a legacy game if you make it that way. So Sleeping Gods, if it sounds like something you want to look into, it goes for $70. There's also an expansion that you can add on to that if you want to. Take a look.
Next up from Skip Shop Games, we have Taxi Derby. This is a game when you all take the role of either taxis or other ride-sharing people, and you are trying to deliver the most passengers and make the most money. Points, money, that's usually how games end. The way this one works is you are in the map of the city of Ixat, that's spelled I-X-A-T. I wonder where that came from. And you'll be driving around a modular board, picking up certain passengers which have preferences such as maybe music, quick time, a lot of different preferences, and you have to deliver them to their goal. Now, the speed limit is 4 in this city. You can choose to move as many spaces as you want. However, if you do go above the speed limit, you will actually roll a die, and the cop will actually move that many spaces as well towards you, trying to catch you, and you may get a speeding ticket then. As you deliver passengers and earn money, you'll actually be also buy upgrades, so you can buy better music, maybe faster times, or avoid cops somehow. So it looks like just this really fun, slow upgrade game. There's actually different kinds of passengers too, so you actually will get rewarded at the end of the game for maybe delivering the most business people or something like that, depending on the kind of people. There's also VIPs, because you gotta have special people. I like the idea that it's not, for a driving game, it's not rolling and moving that many spaces. You actually get to choose, and going over is the speed limit. So you're pushing your luck there as well.
Yeah, I like that a lot. This is one that I almost picked before you picked it. And it just sounds really cool. We've seen a lot of pick up and deliver games, but I can't think, and I'm sure there is one, but there's not one that I'm really familiar with that is what seems like this is, which is like the crazy taxi of board games, which just seems like a genius idea. Really like it. Also didn't realize until we started saying it here out loud how close the title sounds to taxidermy, which is sort of weird. But
that's the expansion where you have to deliver animals.
Yeah, look out for that one.
But the base game is for $34. I think, if I recall correctly, they have some deluxe things with metal coins and such. But see if this is one you want to share a ride with.
Fiasco is coming back from Bully Pulpit Games. This is a brand new edition of the role-playing game, which it was a small book that was designed to have almost no setup time. You just sit down, pick a story, get some dice together, and get going. The premise is that it's based around movies or stories in the style of the Coen brothers. Generally, you're going to be criminals of some kind, and as you play, whatever mishap or misadventure you go on, things are going to go wrong and end up with disastrous and funny results, usually a one-shot that just plays in a couple of hours or so. And this new edition takes away the dice, and it is also no longer a book. They are making it all card-based. So you're going to take cards out. Those are going to determine your setting, what your characters are like, what the relationships are between your characters. And then you're going to go from there with different players describing scenes and determining whether or not the outcomes of those scenes are positive or negative and reacting to what happens and what comes up in the cards. Fiasco has gotten tons of acclaim. It's another one of those ones, unfortunately, that we never got around to playing. It always looked really cool. I mean, part of this, I think that the card-based setup, what they said is that it makes it a lot easier to bring to the table and get going. You don't have to read as much.
I'm really glad they understand we don't like books anymore.
But honestly, for a little part of that, it concerns me because I do like, part of what was nice about it was, oh, it's just a book. You could put that in your backpack or wherever and take it with you. You still need the dice and stuff too, though. But now it is sort of like a Munchkin-sized box. So there's a little more to it, but it sounds like they've been testing it and that it's more streamlined. So I'm excited. Maybe this will be the one where we finally get to jump in and try out this new version. And it goes for $30. You can pick it up. It's Fiasco.
Let's keep this RPG train rolling with the immersive D&D adventure boxes from Realmsmith. The idea behind this is sort of like a, I guess, Blue Apron kind of deal subscription service, where they'll actually send you a module, a box, which will have a bunch of goodies in there, and including a module, obviously, for a D&D campaign. But it'll include minis for you to use during that campaign, paint, a candle to help you get more immersed in the environment, papercraft to build the buildings and the dungeon wherever you are, as well as the box itself transforms into a D&D screen with a bunch of punch-outs and stuff. It just seems like such a really interesting idea for a subscription service. You get all these miniatures and buildings and stuff. They provide everything that you need for that, even write the modules as well. So that's, to me, just seems like something that if you're into RPGs, it's worth taking a look at.
I hope that I can get coupon codes by listening to my favorite podcasts for this one, just like all the other monthly delivery services.
Yeah, we'll see. This one right now, I believe it's like $100 for just the first module of everything. So it is on the pricier end, and I think it was a lot like 700 something. Or no, I might be thinking because of money conversion, but like 600 or more for like the 6 months. But like I said, I just think it comes with all this crazy stuff that if you're into RPGs, it's at least worth giving it a look at.
Here's one called High Clue from Tiger Board Games. It's a word guessing game. Players are tasked with a word, and there are a few words in the middle of the table, but only you know which one belongs to you. And you're trying to get the other players to guess which one is your word. The twist is that you can't give clues, just any clues that you want. The clues you give are based on a series of words that you are given on tiles. So from among, I believe it's 15 different word tiles, you have to form them into some kind of a pattern that will help other people guess which is your word. It's sort of in the form of a haiku, hence the name of the game. So you might think that it's easy to get someone to guess the word, I don't know, tiger, for instance, but maybe the only things that you have, like maybe you have, if you're lucky, you have the word stripe and you could use that, or cat. But maybe you don't. You have to be more creative, and you have teeth and you hope people make a connection that a tiger has teeth. That's just an example I completely made up, not something that's from the game. But it sounded fun to me. What it really made me think of was a game that we've enjoyed a lot, Pictomania, but it's kind of a similar premise, only with Pictionary style drawings, and this sounded like that, but with words. And being, the game of trying to figure out, be creative with the words that are given you to make people guess things, sounded like it could result in some shenanigans, some hijinks.
Right, and depending on the people at the table, you can do some clever stuff. Let's go back to your example, tiger. Let's say you didn't have those. What if you had like golf ball or something like that. So maybe you can try to sort of subvert it in a different way. I think in their example, for example, they had the person guess helpful. So he tried to did hungry grandmother and food.
Right. Yeah, you gotta think outside the box.
They use a bit more than 3 words. I think they like little mini sentences, I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that makes a bit more sense if you see it in action.
So it's a simple, small game. If it sounds like something you'd like, it goes for $20. It's called High Clue.
Now we're going to take a look at Techlandia. In this game, you are all tech bloggers. And you've heard some very terrible things about this company that's about to release its new phone, which seems to be designed to release the Elder Gods into the world. This is sort of a modern take combined with Lovecraft, in which you will have to infiltrate the company, gather the QR codes to prove you were invited to the tech company's reveal, make your way down there and try to stop it before it is all too late. It is a sort of a dungeon crawl, a little smaller though. You use hexes, you don't use all the rooms, and you have to go around to different rooms. Might have to combat things, and you actually have skills, and one of your skills is memes. And there's, of course, henchmen, including a monster executive. You will go through these rooms. There's actually a doomsday counter clock, which actually will trigger story cards as well. There's QR codes you have to collect. It just seems like a fun twist. We're used to always constantly being, in the 20s or maybe even 50s for Cthulhu, to give more of a modern day twist of technology.
Yeah, it's a super weird premise. I just heard it from you just now for the first time. It's interesting to me because it sounds like I feel like most board games, the premises are usually they almost sound like a thing that could happen over and over again. This sounds like a movie, like a plot of a story that has a beginning and an end, which is cool.
It goes for $39, and that is Techlandia.
Those are our Kickstarter picks for the week, but we did skip a week or so because of Gen Con. I know there was at least one giant one that's probably over by the time you're watching this, which was Trudvang Legends, a new Eric Lang game from Come On Games. But if there's anything else that maybe we missed that you think is interesting, please go ahead and leave a comment in the comments section below. We'd like to hear about that from you. And there's some other stuff we have going on too.
Yeah, we actually have a contest for a bunch of Keyforge products, some decks, including one lucky person to get the big starter set. So you can, of course, check the link down below for the contest. Give it a shot.
Yeah. Until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
This has been Kickstarter Pickstarter.
We would love it if you liked and subscribed to this channel and supported us on Patreon as well.
For legal reasons, we've got to disclose we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with more awesome content.